The Gaza ceasefire plan is moving into phase 2, with Hamas saying it is ready to hand over the remains of the last Israeli captive and is open to discussing a freeze on its weapons. Israel says the next phase could begin as early as this month. So, we're here to answer all your questions about the ceasefire plan. With one blaring question everyone seems to be asking: has phase 1 of the plan actually been respected on ground? Because evidence says otherwise. Phase 1 was meant to stop the fighting, but Israel has carried out hundreds of attacks since the ceasefire began. More than 360 Palestinians have been killed in this period alone. Gaza health officials say the total death toll from 2 years of Israeli assaults has now crossed 70,000. Under the agreement, Israel was supposed to halt its military campaign, take part in prisoner exchanges, and allow space for humanitarian operations. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying that the war is not over and that Hamas will be disarmed. His government continues to strike Gaza almost daily, leaving Palestinians uncertain about what a ceasefire even means in practice. So, Israel did pull troops behind what it calls the Yellow Line. This line is supposed to mark the boundary between areas controlled by Israeli forces and those controlled by Hamas, but this line keeps shifting. Hamas accuses Israel of quietly pushing deeper into the strip each day. Families who suddenly find themselves on the wrong side of an unclear boundary are forced to flee again. Some have been killed near these zones because no one knows where the line actually is. So while Israel claims it has repositioned its troops, the situation on the ground looks more like a slow advance rather than a withdrawal. One of the biggest promises of phase 1 was unrestricted humanitarian access. That has not happened. Gaza entered this ceasefire under famine conditions after months of blockade. Aid organizations say that although some trucks are getting in, the volume is far below what was agreed. UNICEF has identified nearly 9,300 children under 5 suffering acute malnutrition. This is 5 times higher than during the previous ceasefire. UNRWA says most goods entering Gaza are commercial, not humanitarian. Major aid agencies still cannot deliver at the scale needed. In other words, the ceasefire has not provided meaningful relief. Then the question is Israel even committed to the ceasefire? There is some serious doubt about that. Netanyahu previously broke a ceasefire earlier this year. His critics say the brutality in Gaza cannot be separated from his political troubles at home, including corruption charges and pressure from far-right partners. The Trump administration is pushing the ceasefire forward, and analysts say Netanyahu may rely on Washington for political cover. If his coalition objects to ending the war, he can say the Americans left him no choice. But none of this signals genuine commitment. So, phase 2 focuses on the future of Gaza. The United States and the UN Security Council back a plan that would place Gaza under a transitional administration run by Palestinian technocrats. Their work would be overseen by a multinational board of peace and supported by an international security force to conflict. But Hamas and other Palestinian groups reject foreign control. They say the plan sidelines Palestinian political will and creates a governance structure imposed from outside. Well, the future is uncertain. Netanyahu is balancing political pressure at home. Israel continues to strike Gaza whenever it chooses. A Palestinian state currently remains distant thought. The situation seems too unpredictable to forecast, what with Netanyahu's political instability and a US president whose approach is constantly shifting. Now, phase 2 may be announced soon, but unless phase 1 is actually implemented, Gaza's reality is unlikely to change. For more such explainers, subscribe to DawnNews English.